Hello, and welcome back to another Dokkan battle video. So a lot of stuff is really going on right now. We had that massive data download with like 12 units in it. But we do also have LR Rose's EZA. He actually is quite good. And like we did predict, he is actually still coming to the global version. It would have been kind of weird if they didn't get him when global was the whole reason we knew he was coming in the first place. So we're just going to tackle this here. So he's weak to VEGETA family, kind of like one of the older Rose EZAs. I forget which one it was. I think it was the AGL one. I think is weak to VEGETA family. And the problem I have with that is, the LRs for this team, they suck. Like they're not good. And you might be thinking, oh, just run like a double VEGETA and Trunks team, and it's perfectly fine. A lot of the LRs are not on Bond of Parent and Child, and you'd be really surprised. Like, a lot of the top tier ones just are not on there, because you gotta remember, for some reason, they don't consider Trunks' bond with Bulma as a bond of parent and child, like, especially for, like, future Trunkses. He only really gets that team once he dies to Cell. That's when him and Vegeta start having, like, a bond. I don't know why they don't count his bond with Bulma. I believe, like, it's just one of those weird things that's just not a part of the cards. But anyway, enough about like the actual typings here. More so on the actual event itself. Again, he's a little weird, right? Like, this card I do think is quite good. Only problem I have is there's a few things. Mainly, I think his actual like starting attack stats are gonna be quite a bit lower than what we're like expecting. Not attacks, defensive stats. The start of turn, right? They are like, he hovers around like 200k range without any defensive mechanic whatsoever. So it ends up in a situation where AoEs are gonna really hammer this guy way harder than we would really like them to. So I do think that there's gonna be a lot of situations where this guy isn't gonna be able to actually like pull off his major super attacks and stuff. And no, don't get me wrong, he is doing ridiculous amounts of damage, and especially if you build him full crit, like he'll do about like roughly 2 million damage on average, a little bit more. But at the same time, he gets 50% chance to crit if he gets the final blow, which if you're building him offensively, he'll probably get, which just kind of makes the crit a little pointless. And then when he turns into his rage mode, he already has super effectiveness all times, which again makes crit a little pointless. So I think if you're gonna build this guy offensively, you're gonna go additional, right? I think it just makes the most sense. You'd maximize the amount of defense he's getting while also getting a whole nother like 12 million, 20 million super attack in. I feel like that is just on average gonna be a little bit better for you if you try to build him in that function. Me personally, I want him to at the very least attempt to dodge the AoE normals. So I gave him 25 dodge and 12 additional and 0 crit. Again, because I just feel like I'll have more value of this card if I'm able to actually bring him into the fights that I think are really gonna matter right now. Which again is stuff like Omega and like Murzamasu, those kind of things. I just feel like it makes significantly more sense for you to try to at least get him to super attack. Because again, he's gonna be in slot 2. You're not putting this guy in slot 1. But post super attack, he jumps up all the way up to like 1.4 million defense. So like he'll be completely fine in most scenarios. So it's really a situation where it's like, let's just try to get him to that point where he is super attacking. If you hear any like background noise, my cat is literally like on top of my microphone right now. I don't know why. She's usually a Cooler fan, and Cooler is not in this video at all. She like literally looked up at me the second I said Cooler. But yeah, so those are just kind of like my initial thoughts about like Goku Black. And again, I do think I am satisfied with how they handled his EZA. I think he is definitely a really solid option. There's just a couple gripes I have with him. Again, like a little bit of a defensive mechanic, a little bit of more ease with his character. I do think him having better ki is definitely a good thing. But I think that they could also give him orb changing. I feel like that wouldn't have made him broken at all. Like, you might be thinking, oh, but then he'll get his passive too easy. Who cares? He's a non-standard nuker. Just give him the ability to get ki and make Ki, like give him a little bit of more utility here. That way he is more of a balanced character where he's doing these crazy damage super attacks while also being able to provide a little bit to the team besides just being really, really strong offensively. You know what I mean? Those are just the kind of things that I personally would have done, but I don't really know. Like, I think if you kept him exactly the same as he is right now, but then also gave him Rainbow Orb changing, I think he becomes quite good, because it allows all the other characters on his team to also function properly. He doesn't need to be a support, he doesn't need guard or anything. I think Animal Guard would be nice, but I think what they could have done, if they really wanted to, because I think he's perfectly fine, like, before, like, after he attacks, is if they made him very similar to, like, Physical Beerus, where if you collected a certain amount of orbs, he gets, like, a bit of damage reduction. I feel like that would have been perfectly fine. And, you know, Physical Beerus, he gets damage reduction when you collect orbs, and then he gets damage reduction, like, after I believe it's before he attacks or something like that. So, like, it builds into itself, and he gets a bunch of damage reduction. I think they could have done something similar to that, where he would get a little bit of damage reduction before he attacked, and then it could either go away, or it could just, he could just have a little bit of damage reduction. That way, those first initial hits aren't going to be as, like, devastating to him as they otherwise would be. What does make me excited, though, seeing how, like, solid his EZA is how good this Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta is going to be when he EZAs, because they're the same character, except Vegeta has always had superior defense to Rose, while also being able to shoot out similar attack stat numbers. So it does give me hope that that Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta from, like, the Majin Buu Saga Worldwide is going to be quite good. Because again, like, they are literally the same function of character, where as you get Ki spheres on your Ki wheel, it actually increases your attack and defense. That is a very specific type of character that I believe only these two are. I don't know if there's any other characters that are like that. It's a specific wording that they have, and it's like raises attack and defense per like a Ki, like, accumulated or something like that. It's very weirdly worded, but that's essentially how it works. And I do think we could get another one of those LRs soon. I don't know how, but like one of these characters, like a modern kit, would be quite good. But now that we're moving in to, like, this new tournament participants, I guess, celebration, and out of the worldwide, it's got me really thinking of, like, what could potentially be the part 2 to this. Now, if you remember I know some of you would be like, oh, but isn't there normally not a part 2 LR here? And last year we didn't get one. Well, last year was a special case because we were celebrating the movie's release. So that's why we got Dokkan Fest Gamma 1 and 2 on the same banner. But they actually took over a gold coin LR slot. So I do expect us to go back to having another gold coin LR. I don't expect to have another, like, 2 Dokkan Fests on the same banner in the middle of this month, and then another Dokkan Fest at the end of the month. I don't think that's gonna happen. That was kind of ridiculous, especially on a lot of people's wallets. That was 3 Dokkan, no, actually technically 4 Dokkan Fest characters in 1 month. Kind of ridiculous. I do expect us to go back to just having a gold coin LR in the middle of the month, and then the teaser Dokkan Fest for Heroes to be at the end of the month still. Now, who it's gonna be, I really don't know. My best prediction right now is Ribrianne as the Part 2 LR. I know a lot of you wouldn't be excited about that, but at the same time, it just kind of makes sense for her to be here now. Now, like, she would presumably be like a peppy gal lead. Okay, yeah, this is actually hitting quite hard, and I blame the fact that the Vegeta family team sucks for this, but I think Ribrianne would make a whole lot of sense, not only for the theme of the actual celebration, but just in general. I think it would just work fine. Only problem I would have with, like, a Ribrianne LR is, like, what would they do for her? Because, like, we already have the transforming start to turn Ribrianne, we have a base form Ribrianne with bad animations, and then we have a giant Ribrianne. I think they should redo giant Ribrianne with, like, actually good animations. That'd be fine. And then once that drops, we kind of, I guess you can't really EZA any more of the Peppy Gal characters, because, like, none of them are in line for an EZA until next year. So there's not really a whole lot you can really do for that. But you could potentially even drop Kind of like what we did with LR Jiren back in the day, where you get a new banner character and you can do like Kakunsa and Rosie as a banner character for a gold coin LR. I feel like that would work really, really well. It would expand the Tournament of Power team, the tournament participant team. Peppy Gals can get a new card. Like, I feel like that would work really, really well. Like, if you made like Amon and Raisin for Peppy Gals, that would be fantastic. You know what I mean? So I do think that that could come. I would be very excited about that, actually, if we did get that. If we got like a new LR Giant Reformer Brienne, so that would potentially be like a, even like a 170, like a full 170 Peppy Gal leader from a modern era. I would be perfectly okay, because the only Peppy Gal leader we have right now is EZA, Intmer Brienne, and then Videl. There's not really a whole lot going on with that team. I feel like that team could definitely be very competitively viable if it had an actual leader. And that's it. That is the full LR Rose EZA. Again, not really hard at all. He is very solid, so we're gonna see what's going on here with him in a couple, like a little bit here. I'll like test him out, who knows what. But we're in here now. Anyway, let me know how you guys feel about him in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.